Hi guys, I'm Mar, and today we're doing another little beauty and business. So we're gonna be getting ready and spilling a little bit of tea, a little bit of business tea. For this video, I really wanted to talk about Forever 21 and the rise and fall of Forever 21 because I feel like Forever 21 was just like the hottest thing out there. We were all buying at Forever 21. Where do you get that? Forever 21? And then all of a sudden it was like they were gone. I mean, have you guys shopped at Forever 21 recently? And it's kind of weird because personally, I would still be shopping at Forever 21 after most people stopped shopping there. And I would get asked all the time, oh, where did you get that? It's so cute. And I would say Forever 21. And the look of shock and deceit, people were just not believing me. They're like, I don't know if I can trust you no more. Did you really get that at Forever 21? It cannot be. So yeah, I'm just gonna start getting ready. I kind of wanted to do something green, but I'm not going to because I want to use my Amor Caliente Too Faced palette. That's what I've been using like every day for the past few months. And we went to see it at Ulta in store and it was so exciting. I'll put a little clip of us going into the store right here. It was honestly such a crazy experience to see something you worked on for so long at a store that you go to all the time and that you love. So yeah, it was just really cool and really surreal. Also, they had it like at the front. She had a good seat, so I was very excited about that. But yeah, all the products are going to be linked in the description so I don't interrupt our little beauty and business by talking about the products. And okay, so Forever 21 actually didn't start as Forever 21. It started out as Fashion 21 as a little store in LA, and they started in 1984, and it was started by this couple, these two Korean immigrants from South Korea, and their names were Jinsu Chang. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, but and Do Won Chang. I hope I'm getting that right. Honestly, I don't know. But they actually immigrated to the US from South Korea in 1981, and they came, you know, as us immigrants do. No money, just with a hope and a dream of a better life. And she worked as a hairdresser and he worked at a gas station. So I mean, they were just humble people. And it's weird because when I was reading about this, I read some stories where it said that they were 18 at the time, but they weren't 18. So I'm not really sure where that rumor started. When they moved to the US in 1981, they were 27. So by the time they started Forever 21 in 1984, they were 30. I mean, that's obviously amazing. I think this couple has done really great things, but I was like, wow, they did that all at 18, like how? And no, that's why you can't believe everything you read online because the internet is just a crazy, crazy world. So anyway, they decided to start this clothing store because when he was working at the gas station, he would see that the people that had the nicest cars, they would be in the garment business. And that's weird because this was LA. You would think it would be like in the movie business or something, but I guess no, they were in the garment industry. So they start this store, and what they decided to do was just buy wholesale clothing that they could get at a discount and then resell it for a really low price. So they tried to find really trendy items and, you know, cute clothes, and they didn't have their own designs or anything because I mean, they were just starting out, and the store was just incredibly successful. Fashion 21 actually had $700,000 in sales in its first year, which is incredible. I mean, businesses on their first year are usually not even profitable. So when you have like a lot of money, I feel like these big success stories, they always start from like, I guess except KFC. I mean, KFC, that was rough, man. If you guys haven't seen that video, I wanted to cry. I was like, sir, I can't do it anymore. But I feel like usually they have a really good business idea that people really, really like. So they end up being super successful with that. So this was in the 80s, you gotta remember. And they were like, oh, you know what? We're gonna change the name. We're no longer gonna be Fashion 21. We're gonna be Forever 21. Because they wanted the name Forever to include everyone and to include like basically anybody that wanted cute clothes, they could shop at Forever 21. And also 21. I always wondered if 21 was because something to do with being 21. And apparently, yes, Mr. Chang says that's the best age, like the age everybody wants to go back to being 21. And I mean, since I'm 21, I can say for a fact, I'm kidding guys, I'm obviously not 21. Personally, I get that for like a brand and a business standpoint, but I think age doesn't really have to do with enjoying your life. You should just enjoy it at any age. That's just me. Anyway, so this was the 80s. They grew, and of course what they did was just get more stores. I mean, expand. They wanted more stores because that's how you grew. You couldn't just like get some Instagram followers or something. I mean, it was just so different, right? And they started having their own designs and opening stores like crazy. I mean, they were opening a new store every 6 months at first, but then it went way above that. I mean, they were just like, you get a store, you get a store, you get a store. And you know what? Maybe their business model of having like these really trendy, cute clothes for a really cheap price, to us, it's kind of like a no-brainer. It's kind of like, okay, that's what everyone does. But it wasn't what everyone was doing back then. And Forever 21 was one of the first to do this. And not only one of the first, but also they were the fastest. So they were approving designs. There was a point where Mr. Chang was approving up to 400 designs a day. So people were coming like, oh, do you like this shirt? And he would just go like, yes, yes, no. So they could sell it at their different stores. And each store's merchandise was a little bit different. They all didn't have the exact same things. So that made it feel like they were so exclusive and so cool, even when it was just like really cheap. And I feel like Forever 21 clothes is not like the best quality. So yeah, they grew so much, they were expanding so much and so fast that eventually Forever 21 actually became the #1 tenant in US malls in America. So every mall you went to, there was a Forever 21. That is true. That's what I came to expect when I went to the mall. And also low-key hope for a Cheesecake Factory, but that was not a given. You didn't always get a Cheesecake Factory. Just sad. I mean, I want Cheesecake Factory to be the #1 tenant in the world. And Forever 21 just kind of kept doing its thing. They kept opening more stores. They kept growing. They had a lot of controversies because they would kind of rip off designs, but I mean, Gucci, we can't all spend $1,000 for a t-shirt that just looks like it has some scribble on it. So I never know how I feel about that because I do get the whole copyright and that they're stealing and whatever, but also they made these really cool designs more accessible to like the average person. And eventually Forever 21 peaked in 2015 when it hit 4.4 billion in sales a year, which is crazy. They had expanded so much, they had so many stores, they had over 44,000 employees. I mean, this was a big operation, and this was still the Changs. They were very much in charge, which, spoiler alert, not always a good thing. Their personal fortune actually went all the way up to $5.9 billion. Like, whoa, you guys got some coin. I mean, they started Forever 21 with $11,000, and now they got $6 billion. Must be nice. I mean, obviously deserved. They worked hard for it. I'm just saying, like, wow, why can't I have $1 billion idea? And their goal around this time was to hit $8 billion in sales a year by 2017. And you guys are probably like, whoa, I mean, that's a lot. That's double. How are you guys planning on doing this? And the plan was actually to open more stores. They were planning on opening more than 600 stores, which to me is kind of strange because I'm like 2015, this was when we were all starting to just join Amazon Prime. Not everyone was shopping online, but I feel like the trend was definitely going there where people were not going to malls as much and they just wanted to have more stores. As I was reading this, I was kind of confused as to why, and I will tell you guys the why. Research, honey. I guess this kind of starts the fall of Forever 21, and one of the main things that happened was that they were just not keeping up with the times. They were not keeping up with the styles, because before there was a time where they had all the cutest things, all super trendy, but now the style just never evolved. And they had a lot of competitors, and these competitors, on the other hand, were evolving without even comparing them to a Fashion Nova or a Shein or something like that. Just comparing them to a H&M or a Zara. Forever 21 still had kind of outdated styles that people just didn't like as much anymore. And I think the keeping up with the times thing is really important because they really had basically no social media presence. I mean, they have like an Instagram and a Facebook page. I don't even know. But they didn't really put a marketing plan behind the internet, behind social media, behind how they were going to expand in this new online world. They were still so focused on the, I guess for lack of a better word, but the physical world, and they just wanted more stores. They actually made their stores bigger. They added floors to existing stores. So all their focus was on that, which was the same thing that they had focused on in the 80s. And yeah, sure, that worked in the 80s, but it didn't work in the 2010s. And you know, I had noticed this just as a consumer. I was like, wow, I wonder why Forever 21 doesn't even try. I mean, they're very well known for not working with influencers. They won't even send out clothes. I mean, these were things that a lot of stores were doing. I feel like a really good example is Fashion Nova. Fashion Nova really blew up just because of their Instagram presence, because literally so many people were wearing Fashion Nova and they were coming out with designs so quickly. You could literally see Kim Kardashian wearing a dress like today, and tonight you would see that dress on Fashion Nova. Forever 21 no longer had that speed to turn around designs so quickly, and they just weren't doing it. It's not like you would eventually see something that was similar to something you would like to see online. No, they had like a whole different aesthetic. And the reality is that most of us are doing our shopping online. We are looking at what we want to buy online. So it was kind of weird that they just decided to not have a presence. So that's when the Changs come in again, because up until this time, even though Forever 21 was so profitable and they were such a great business, they never took it public, which is something that a lot of businesses do to kind of take the pressure off. They'll hire some executive to help them because, you know, I mean, it grew from this little store to this ginormous worldwide operation. Maybe you're just not capable of handling anymore. I mean, it's a big business and you might need some help. But the Changs always decided to keep running it as a family business. Some employees have even gone on to say that Mr. Chang will literally look look through invoices and see what executives are expensing to the company. So like lunches and Ubers and things like that. Mr. Chang will go through it and decide if that gets approved or not. That's something a CEO really shouldn't be doing, but it just shows kind of how much control he has and won it over things. I feel like this man's just like a control freak, because from what I've read, he was just trying to still control everything, like approving all the designs himself. And this is a company that is supposed to be Forever 21. So it's supposed to keep up with the times and supposed to stay trendy, but somehow an old man is in charge of deciding what these trends are. I mean, it's not really surprising what happened there. Of course, I'm not saying he doesn't deserve credit. I mean, I think it's amazing. He literally built this entire business by himself and with his wife. I just feel that they never asked for help when they should have, because apparently they had big trust issues with hiring new executives and things like that, and they were very involved in the church, but to a point where I think it was almost bad for them, because they were hiring people that they had a relationship with through the church, but that didn't necessarily have any experience in business or in clothing or marketing. They were just hiring them because they were good Christians. I don't know. I guess you guys tell me how you feel about that. I was reading this really interesting story that I feel just really sums up why the fall of Forever 21 happened. So the Changs would hire consultants and stuff like that to help them, tell them what new technologies they should use, what marketing strategies they should use, and then they would go on to ignore them. And the story that I read that kind of proved this point as to why they should not be ignoring these experts was that Ariana Grande actually sued Forever 21 because they had like a lookalike model of hers, and they were also just selling items that were very obviously Ariana Grande inspired. I mean, the photo shoot, you would just think it was Ariana, but it wasn't actually Ariana. So she sued them. But the irony here is that Forever 21 execs had actually been advised to collab with Ariana Grande for their holiday 2014 collection, and they refused. So that just kind of leaves you puzzled. Like, wow, you could have had the actual Ariana and you would not be getting sued, and you would have, you know, all of her fan base buying your stuff. But instead they took this approach. I mean, okay. They also made a lot of mistakes in real estate because they opened these huge stores right before the market collapse, and they were like, we're keeping these stores, I don't care what happens. And it was just very difficult for them to actually fill them up because they were just so big. But I feel another big issue was their international expansion. So they had started this business in the US and it was very successful in the US, but their international branches were actually never profitable. None of them. Because the issue was that it was still Mr. Chang that was dealing with all this, and honestly, props to him, because I don't know how he dealt with all these stores. But they failed to realize that different things worked for different markets. Like, for example, the Europeans will buy winter clothes earlier than the Americans. So they should have put out the winter clothes earlier, but they didn't. They were just like, okay, we set in our American ways. And as of 2015, their stores in Canada, Europe, and Asia were losing on average $10 million a month. It's like, sir, you need to fix this. You need to call someone up here and fix it, and not somebody from the church, like a real professional. We need professional help. Someone call Dr. Phil, someone call Oprah. And as of last year, you guys probably heard of this, Forever 21 has filed for bankruptcy, and it's leaving 40 countries, so they will no longer have Forever 21s, because as you guys know, those international stores were not where it was at. They also said they were closing 200 stores, which, I mean, I kind of feel like they need to close more, but I guess you do you, Mr. Chang. What do I know? I'm not a billionaire. And then when a company files for bankruptcy, it doesn't really mean the same thing that it means for you and I. It doesn't mean like we broke, sorry, we gotta go. It's more of a, ooh, sorry, my bad, I messed that up, but I'm gonna take a little second to try and fix this. But I don't know, they filed for bankruptcy last year, so I don't think it was the best time to try and fix things, especially if they're so focused on in-store experience. I mean, stores were literally closed for months. Mr. Chang, I feel like God is telling you to sell things online, but in all honesty, it might be too late. I mean, now there's so many different stores, so many competitors, and most of them are focused on the online retail business. I feel like if you asked me, and I know nobody's asking me, but if you asked me, I would say the reason for Forever 21's rise and fall was ultimately the same. It was the Changs. They made an amazing business which grew so much, but then they just refused to evolve and they refused to keep up with the times. I mean, so much so that their personal fortune has gone down to $1 billion. Poor guys, only $1 billion. But you know, they have lost like $5 billion. So yeah, tell me what you guys think. What are your thoughts on what happened to Forever 21? And let me know if you like the series and what other things we should talk about here. But yeah guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Bye!